I'm going to tell a rather creepy story. A very creepy story. I love to tell creepy stories, and I've told a few. But this story, it reaches another level. I Am Nightmare by Jennifer Gifford, published in 2016. Some call me opportunity, others call me fate. In religious circles, I'm the devil, or the more poetic tragedy. The title I hate most is God's Will. I am not of his creation, and he never wanted anything to do with me. Some even refer to me as the Grim Reaper, but I am none of these things. At best, I am a parasite, an invisible symbiotic leech. Of all the titles, I hate the ones that describe my art as God's work. You humans are so foolish. After all of these centuries, you still like to explain away the bizarre happenstances in life with your religious preferences. Some of you will say, God is in everything. But you never stop to think that the same could be said of the devil. While I am an opportunist, I have my own agenda and I work alone. I prefer it that way. I do not like the notion of sharing credit for anything, and I like even less the sharing of spoils. I do all the work, the targeting, the scoping, and the silencing of my target. I am darkness. I am nightmare. And I'm coming for you. I'm intangible, though I'm given credit for taking many forms. I manifest myself into the foggy crevices of dreams and lurk about in the subconscious, waiting for the right moment to plant my seed. Watching, waiting. The mind is a vast ocean of sensory impulses tied to memories, a mesh-like web of who we really are. And the mind never lies. The beauty of it all is that I am a true serial killer. The beauty of my existence and my unique methodology is that there will be no long arm of the law coming for me. There is no technology around, past, present, or future, that can track me. My world is a realm of sultry shadows and lurid thoughts, tangled together like a broken love knot, and bound by emotions far greater than love. It's true that love knows no bounds, but lust knows no ends. Lust is twice as strong and even sweeter. There are hungers that the simplistic human palate cannot even begin to fathom. Those forbidden desires, they are delicacies that have created in me an insatiable addiction. I am an intangible mist of twisted terrors, like barbed wire around the soul. I manifest my image into the living nightmare in the mind of my prey. I infest slowly, creeping and skulking around in the subconscious of my target. I wait for the very moment when I can infest my diseased thoughts into the altered reality of my victim's dream. That moment is when I induce fear and always death. At the precise moment of death, I get my victim's life essence in its purest form before the soul vanishes toward the end of its journey. In those few moments, as the soul detaches itself from the human shell, I get an emotional rush of adrenaline-laced fear, stronger than any man-made concoction. But the volume is small, and it rushes through me all too quickly, and I'm left longing for more. Too soon, the fervor is gone, and it takes more of my energy to create a darker realm where I can torment my victim. Even as I gain ever more experience, my efforts require more of my skills, yet they yield less of what I need. It's a vicious cycle, and it's bound to me, as I am bound to reality and my own crown of thorns. When I let the fear rush their minds, it makes their brains scramble all the senses. I can almost smell their sweet divinity preparing to leave them. It attracts me, turns me on like a bee to honey. The look in their eyes as it happens is wickedly delicious. Their greatest fear is my weapon of choice. The destructive beauty of my victim's last breath of life. From my handiwork. It's a euphoria that can be known only by those who have touched pure evil. Every junkie has that image of their ultimate high, that one idyllic moment that binds them to the destructive repetition. While I am not tangible, I suffer the same snare. My most intense high was Amber McCarty. She was all sweetness and light, young and naive. She was an ordinary girl living on a farm somewhere in the Midwest. Amber was petite, attractive, funny, and it seemed that everyone wanted to be around her, even me. I took a chance and came in on the fog one cool September morning and waited. I waited. I watched. She gave the impression of being a good daughter, a good student, and a good sister to her younger brother. The kids in Sunday school liked her, and everyone seemed to relax whenever she was around. I could see why. I was just as attracted to her as they were, but for my own reasons. On my last few kills, I decided to test a theory of mine. Would the volume of the life essence be stronger and sweeter if the original source of life was stronger and sweeter? Amber's sweetness and purity stirred in me a hunger I hadn't felt in years. I knew that when the moment came and she tasted the fear and I tasted her divinity, that it would be the closest thing to heaven that something like me could ever experience. I waited, and 3 days later, my opportunity arrived. It was a typical Monday morning, but Amber was running late for school. Today, she had to look perfect. It was the day that nominations would be announced for Homecoming Queen. And Amber had her heart set on being nominated. Her parents were both busy. Her father on a tractor in the West Field, her mother in the barn with the chickens. Her younger brother was still asleep. I crept into her bathroom under the guise of the steam from the shower. Of all the forms I can take, vapor is the easiest and the most overlooked. I knew what lurked in the small cabinet beneath the sink. I knew what lay hidden there, and I knew what was going to happen. I knew Amber's worst fear. I saw it unfold in a bad dream. I saw the shock and panic on her face when it happened. It was then that I knew. The minutes ticked by, painfully delicious, as I waited. I was giddy with anticipation and could barely contain my excitement. She got out of the shower and quickly dried off. I watched, totally transparent, as she rubbed her hair with a towel, then let the towel drop to the floor. I watched as she examined herself in the mirror, moving her body to view it from every angle. She looked up at the clock on the wall, muttered a soft curse, and then quickly grabbed her hairbrush. I watched her reach under the sink into the cabinet and pull out the hairdryer. I watched breathlessly. I felt the tingling sensation of adrenaline pulsing through me, building to that one twisted and beautiful moment when I watched my art come to life. In that moment, I felt like I was God. I knew her fear. She switched on the small radio, which began playing country music from a local station. She plugged in the hairdryer and flipped the switch to high. As she fluffed and dried her hair, her angelic voice sang along to the music from the radio, one song after another. I knew what was in the hairdryer. I knew what the heat from the hairdryer would do. Before long, small black specks began to emerge from the tube of the hairdryer. First, a few, then a few dozen, then 100. Hundreds of newly hatched black spiders scrambled out of the safety of their cocoon in the barrel of the seldom used hairdryer. Struggling to escape from the scorching heat, they crawled frantically away from the source. Their almond-shaped bodies stampeded into the safety of Amber's wet hair. With their tiny, sinewy legs, they crawled past her hair to the nape of her neck. Then Amber turned off the dryer. But the tiny spiders did not stop moving. They quickly crept past her neck, some choosing to move down her spine, toward the small of her naked back. Others moved toward her face. Amber looked at her reflection in the mirror and watched in terror as hundreds of little black spiders crept over the smooth complexion of her skin. For a moment, she was paralyzed by fear. And then it happened. With her eyes and mouth wide open, she let out the most gut-wrenching, terrified scream. She tried desperately to brush the spiders off her face and neck. But the tiny spiders did not stop moving. Amber screamed loudly again. But the needle-like sensations did not stop. They only ran further up and down her skin, making her flesh crawl with goosebumps. Their feathery light touch poured over her skin like an unnatural dance macabre. Soon they covered her arms, her legs, her back, her face. Amber ran into her bedroom, flailing her arms, and as she ran past me, I could smell the raw fear ebbing around her like waves. I inhaled sharply, and her divinity washed over me, pushing me into a state of sadistic elation. It tasted like sweet peaches and honey. Amber thrashed around, stumbling out of her bedroom door. Then she slipped over the wooden handrail of the staircase and fell onto the hardwood floor of the farmhouse with a loud thud. Everyone thought that Amber died from the fall, but I know firsthand she died from fear. I cannot imagine a sweeter way to go. It was the most exquisite kill I've ever had. It's the one that sets the bar for all of the others that have followed. I lurk in the shadows and wait. searching for a new victim, seeking out that brief moment that will allow me another fix. Whatever others might call me, I know there is nothing else like me. I am immortal. I am nightmare. Everyone has a morbid story to tell. I'm no exception. I'm just the precipice for other people's morbid tales. Someday, I will be part of yours.